What is going on, everybody? What's up? Just got off work. What happened today that I missed in the news? Rodney, what's up? Moulton, Tommy, Houston, NASCAR Mouth. What's up, guys? Let's see. I'm going to scroll through here, see if anything broke today. Yeah, it is about time I went live. I don't know what happened yesterday. It said I couldn't stream or whatever. I don't know. So I had to wait 24 hours, but I did. So here we are. Let's see. Yeah, Moulton. The Denny Hamlin thing is just, I mean, it was a joke. I don't think he meant anything by it, but, people on Twitter are having an overreaction because that's what people on Twitter like to do. So that's just the way that's going to be. He probably should have texted it to him or something like that if he wanted to make that joke. But at the end of the day, Twitter is no place for jokes, apparently. So 30 days until Elon flushes that out, I guess, and we'll see what happens from there. But said the people at Twitter are going to have their jobs for 30 days. So 30 more days of shadow banning, and then I guess it'll be the Elon version of Twitter after that. What's up? Elon Musk buys NASCAR. Numbers are going back on the door. So I like it. I do not like the number being shifted forward. That is a weird. That's definitely a weird look. I like it back on the door, but I don't know. NASCAR is pretty much they're sticking with the number forward. So I don't know. Even for Throwback Week, I thought that was Throwback Weekend. That was a weird. Like your best weekend, your best paint schemes, and they're going to stick with the number staying on the door. I don't like that. Tom Neaton, thanks, man. Glad to have you on board. T Van, what's up, man? Rich L said Elon will make Twitter go as fast as his Tesla cars. I like it. David Reagan took out Cody Ware. It's his own teammate at Talladega. That was the funniest thing. Yeah, nobody's pointed that out. And Michael McDowell's actually gotten off the hook too. He totally sent Corey LaJoie at the end of that too. Like that happened behind Kyle Larson, obviously. But yeah, Corey LaJoie got sent for a ride by Michael McDowell, and a lot of people didn't see that. So that was kind of he kind of got away with it because everybody's sort of focusing on Larson pulling out there. Everybody's got an opinion on that. Who do you have winning at Dover? I have not looked at the numbers yet, but I like Bowman. Basically the Hendrick and the Gibbs cars at Dover. I like a lot. Truex and Kyle Busch probably from Gibbs, and then Hendrick. Bowman. I mean, that 48 car has always been good there. So I mean, any of the Hendrick guys. I mean, they've all been on fire this year. I mean, just take your pick on the Hendrick guys. I guess I'll go with the 24 because he's got 2 wins. So him and Chase has got to win at some point. So probably him and Chase. And of course, Larson's always going to be a threat. So Dover's a tricky track though, man. Like it tightens up when somebody wrecks. So basically, if you can survive all the wrecks at Dover, you got a chance. They definitely have fast cars. As Martio said, has anyone heard Kleenex might become Kyle Busch's primary sponsor? I have not heard who the primary sponsor is going to be, but the Iceberg listed about 10 sponsors on his video the other day. So that was pretty interesting. And I think NRF has done a video on who could possibly sponsor Kyle Busch as well. So check out both of those. They might know something. I don't know. Justin Rogers said, "I've never had a problem seeing the sponsors on the side of the cars with the numbers on the door." I'm with you, dude. Like I've never had a problem reading the sponsor either. Like I thought moving the number forward was crazy. Moulton said he thinks Kyle Busch is going to dominate Dover. He could, man. He's really good there. Him, Harvick, and Truex. They all have 3 wins, and they're going to be going for it. I know they want to break the tie with each other. But I like looking up those stats, dude. I didn't realize Jimmy Johnson had 11 wins at that track. That's crazy. I remember he was good there, but I didn't think it was quite that many. But that was like, man, 11 wins. That's tough. Harvick does run strong at Dover. John Mick, yeah. Harvick's definitely good. Stuart Haas has turned it around this season, so that could definitely be somebody to contend with. Kenny B, thanks, man. Congrats on 4K. Yeah, I haven't looked at the Dover stats yet, so I'd have to dig into that to see exactly who I think is going to be up there. But Byron's been strong, so if you're going to go with Hendrick, I feel like Byron's a good pick. And definitely Kyle Busch and Martin Truex for Gibbs. Trackhouse, though, man. Trackhouse has been on fire, so you can't count them out. I mean, if Suarez has run good, too. He's just had bad luck. He's been in a lot of wrecks. So you can't count them out. Oh, Rich L, I feel you, man. Those diecasts are taking forever to get out. He said, I'm still waiting for 2022 diecast. COVID is messing everything up. For sure. Those diecasts are taking like twice as long as they have ever taken to come out, and that is unfortunate to say the least. Yeah, so that is pretty impressive. CPO said, amazing that Chastain could win at Coda and Talladega in the same car. Drivers often have a favorite car. I think Chastain has his. And like, here's the deal with cars. You can build everything side by side, right? You can make everything as similar as humanly possible, but one chassis is just going to be stronger than another chassis, or it's just going to be faster, however you want to look at it. And sometimes you just have like a really good chassis. They'll talk about even back in the day when they built them all by hand before it was sort of this stick it together Walmart stuff, as Kyle Busch said. But there's always going to be one chassis that just does better than other chassis. And that chassis that Ross Chastain has, that won on the road course and at the super speedway, that just might be the good chassis. And they're probably hoping that they don't ever wreck that thing, because as soon as it gets wrecked, sometimes they just never run the same. So that's definitely probably their fastest car. Where should I buy diecast cars? Circle B is a really good place. At the racetrack, they usually have some. Of course, NASCAR.com, which is powered by Fanatics, I guess. They've got a bunch of them too. And there's if you go to the Charlotte race, there's a place. It might be Circle B, but it's wherever the Big Bass Pro Shops is in Concord. There's a big diecast place in there that has a bunch of stuff. So if you go to the Charlotte race, that's a good one. Tell me about Alex Bowman. I'll tell you what, Blake Jenkins, Alex Bowman is a really good driver, and I think he's got a really good chance at Dover. And a couple of people asked the question, how come he's not in that 88 car? I think he has a lot of prior, this is just a guess, I don't know for sure, but I think he has a lot of prior dirt obligations, and that is why he was left out of the 88 car in the Xfinity series that they're doing for all the Hendrick guys, the Hendrick.com or Hendrick Automotive, whatever. I got it on my hat, whatever. HendrickCars.com. 88 that Junior is running for them. I think that's why Bowman was left out of that ride. I think he had just prior dirt obligations, so they probably couldn't schedule him in for a ride. But it's cool that the other 3 Hendrick drivers are going to get to drive that car, as well as Dale Jr. on his one race of the year. Marty O, so we are at Dover coming up. Will the cars work great at a 1.5, or will it not be good like at the short tracks? I don't know, man. Dover is a very funny track. It's high banked, it's fast. It's real tight though. Like if somebody wrecks, it's real tight. It bunches up real quick. It's concrete, so I don't know. I'm thinking it'll probably, to me, it's all going to be on if the tire falls off. So if the tire falls off, it'll probably be a good race. But I think it'll depend on the tire, because I think the car has pretty much, it's done better than I think most people expected. The short tracks have not been good, which has taken everybody by surprise, but it's done good everywhere else within reason. I mean, there's definitely some things they need to fix. The toe links are too weak, and the one lug nut has been an issue, a serious issue. I don't know if you noticed, but people are just taking 2 tires at Talladega because they didn't even want to risk the lug nut deal. So that's still an issue. But other than that, I think the new car has done okay. I think it's for a brand new first generation of this car. I think it's done pretty well. Oh, that's right. Molten Rage said Ryan Preece will be his first points paying race of this year in the Rick Ware car. So that will be fun to watch. Ryan Preece, I think he will wheel that Rick Ware Racing. I can't say it. RWR car. I think he is going to put. We're going to see what kind of speed that thing has in it. So yeah. Rich L says slow mode is on. Yeah, I don't know how to fix that. That'll be something I have to look at next time. Let's see. I don't have any kind of cable TV, therefore I won't get to see any more races this summer. Yeah, that's terrible, man. I hate that they're putting it on cable. That's part of the deal, though. They want you to pay. They want you to pay for that cable subscription, so they put them on cable, and that's pretty much what it's all about. Unfortunately, it's all about that TV money, and that's part of that deal. So I don't know how we ever fix that without NASCAR getting its own streaming service. Maybe they could look at MLB, WWE, UFC. I know all of those have their own streaming service, or at one point had their own streaming service. So yeah, Mick said John Mick said handling is everything at Dover. That's for sure. If you can get that car hooked up on concrete, that's really any concrete track, in my opinion. If you can get a car hooked up on concrete, you can really make it ugly for the rest of the field. You can put them down a lap early, and by the time they get their car dialed in, it might be too late for them. Rich L said, Michael, check out YouTube TV. It's pretty cheap and you get all the races. So that's an option for you. If you guys don't want to buy cable, check out the YouTube TV deal. I know I've seen a lot of people actually say the YouTube TV package is actually really, really probably the best thing going on right now. I'm not a personal subscriber to it, but a lot of my friends talk about how great it is, and they're telling me I should get it. I'm still old school. I got DirecTV, to be totally honest. DirecTV, Netflix, and Amazon. That's what I got going on. With the increased importance of road races and Cup, do you see a road racer making a stab at running the season? Can Scott Pruitt make a comeback? I'll tell you what, I'd love to see Scott Pruitt make a comeback, but I'll tell you who I really thought NASCAR whiffed on was Ernie Francis. I thought Ernie Francis, I think he's going to Indy Lights now, but NASCAR totally whiffed on him because he did really good in that SRX challenge deal. And I think he could have been an absolute stud in NASCAR. I think he won like 6 IMSA championships in Trans Am or whatever. So they totally whiffed on him. Like that's one of the guys I would have seen. Chad McCumbee would be another good one. He was really good, and he races short track stuff still. So I'd like to see somebody like that. Kaz Grala is a really good road course racer. Somebody needs to jump on him at some point. I think Kaz Grala and Parker Kligerman are probably 2 of the more underrated guys, and I think I really wish somebody would give them a chance. Like there's some other guys out there that deserve a chance too, but for whatever reason, these 2 guys never get a look. Justin Rogers said, I enjoy seeing the Cup guys drive Xfinity. I do too. Like a lot of people push back on that, but I've always been, I don't know. I've always been a fan of watching the Cup guys race Xfinity. Like I never had a problem with it. I thought the year that Kevin Harvick ran both series and won the championship in Xfinity and finished, I think, 8th in points in Cup. I always thought that was a cool year. I wish more people would have done that, but of course now you can only run like 5. Marty said, "See, no crickets. People are here to talk to you." Yeah, that's for sure. Like I was scared nobody would be on here. That's why I'd never live streamed before. So that fear has now been overcome, somewhat. Still a little bit nervous. Danny B, what's up, man? Good to see you on here, dude. I like Montoya to come back. I would like to see Juan Montoya come back, man. He was really good. Aaron Armstrong said Fox is horrible. Fox did not start the season off well, but they have recently picked it up on their pre-race show for sure. What is my favorite diecast? Chase's Champ asked. I have a Dale Earnhardt Corvette that he raced in the 24 Hours of Daytona, and it's like all gold, but it's a raced version of the all gold chrome. That's probably right up there with my favorite. My other one is a Lee Petty, the first ever Daytona 500 winner. Great big white Oldsmobile, I think. But first ever Daytona 500 winner, and it's like the really big one. I guess it's like 1/18. It's the size up from 124. So both of those are actually the size up from 124. So those are cool. Trent, what's up, man? Let's see. Yeah, Denny Hamlin's season has been pretty rough. Aside from the win, he is having one of the worst seasons of all time. But that being said, maybe this is the year he wins. Maybe that's what it's going to take for Denny Hamlin to win, to have a terrible season, but only win one race and get in the playoffs and then catch on fire. Who knows? But he's definitely one of the best to never win, I think. Let's see. Yeah, I agree with you, Danny. Danny B said bigger name stars in Xfinity always give me more reason to watch personally. I think so too. I think the people that hate on Xfinity are just people that don't like Kyle Busch, and so they'll use any reason they want to hate on Kyle Busch. So I think that's where the no cup drivers should race Xfinity comes from. But I always love seeing them race. I remember like way back in the day, like Mark Martin in that Winn-Dixie car. When you saw him show up, you're like, yeah, let's see who can beat him. It was more of a fun. Can these young guys come up and get the veterans type deal? And same thing with Earnhardt when he ran that black 3, his own 3 in the Busch Series. Back then it was called the Busch Series, I guess. It was really awesome. I miss the bushwhackers, man. Like I really do. I wish more guys would jump down there and do that. Rich said we need to see Juan go into another sweeper. That was so crazy. I remember watching that on TV and I was like, what happened? Juan Montoya ran into the jet dryer at Daytona, I think, and it burned a hole through the track. It was insane. LGB, what's up? Hey, man. Love your channel. Thanks, LGB. Let's go, Brandon. Thank you, man. Let's see. Alan Unsealed. I see my favorite hanging there, BB. Who's your favorite? Which one's your favorite? You talking about Larson in the background? Or the Chase Elliott flag, Penske? Let's see. Oh yeah, Kyle Larson won at Eldora last night, and he's won in every type of dirt car, I think, at Eldora or something like that. I vaguely saw something like that on Twitter, so I think he's won on every type of dirt car in Eldora now. So that's pretty cool. How many times this year has Bubba crashed and come out of his car looking like he's dying? R. Escobar asked that. Well, I think it's because this car is like more stiff. So when you hit the wall, basically on a front impact, just about every time it knocks the air out of you. So I don't know how he's got his seat configured, but most people sit in the car until they get their breath back. But I think he's jumping out of the car before he's got his breath back all the way. So I think it's just a different process of how he does stuff. But he said it's just getting the breath knocked out of him. Hopefully he's not, suffering any type of concussions or anything like that. Because we know that's what made Dale Jr.'s career end early. So hopefully it's just him getting the air knocked out of him. And I don't know if you watched that episode of the Dale Jr. download where he talked about he had a fracture in his chest from some of those hits too. So I would worry about that. So hopefully he's getting X-rayed every time he makes these hits too, because this car is definitely stiffer, which is putting more impact up through the seat. So hopefully that is something they look at going forward. Rich L. Mark Martin is the boss. He was absolutely the man, especially in the Busch series. When you saw that Winn-Dixie car, it was like Mark Martin versus the field, sort of like when you see Kyle Busch in a truck series race. It's the field versus Kyle Busch. So, yeah. 6 classes at Eldora. Ty Kit, thank you, man. Thanks for bailing me out. I'm far from a dirt expert, but I do like watching dirt, if that makes any sense. Do I watch Formula One? I do watch Formula One. I was a huge Ayrton Senna fan back in the day, and now I pull for McLaren and I pull for Haas and Ferrari. Yeah, I watch it. I'm not super knowledgeable about it. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh yeah, I know everything about F1. I don't. I was into it before Drive to Survive came out, but I'm glad Drive to Survive came out and more people are into it now, because I think it's a great motorsport. I like how they let their drivers have a lot more personality than NASCAR does, and their sponsors are putting in more money than the NASCAR sponsors are. So I don't buy sponsors are making these guys walk the line. I think NASCAR is making these guys walk the line. So I wish NASCAR would let the reins off a little bit and let these guys have a little more personality, which is ironic. I'm saying that today because of the Denny Hamlin deal, but it is what it is. Everybody goes about their business different. So if NASCAR wants to have bland drivers, let them have it. Let's go. Brandon said, but Dodge will be back next year. Almost would bet on it. I don't know if it's next year, but I feel pretty strongly that they're trying to come back. I'm thinking 2024 would probably be the soonest they would come back because that's when the engine changes, and I think that's going to be another thing that sort of levels the playing field one more time. So probably 2024 would be the earliest, but I would think they would try to get in earlier and try to get a handle on the chassis. That way. I don't know. I'd like to have one run with the chassis before I put the new engine in. If I'm a new manufacturer coming in, I also think Honda's going to come in. To be totally honest, I think Honda's going to be another one. Danica used to drive with one foot on the dash. That's why she always ended up winded. I'm not going to touch that one. Stevie Ray, I like Harrison Burton. If he has a bad year, do you think the Wood brothers will replace him at the end of the season? I think they're going to stick with Harrison Burton. I think Harrison Burton did the right thing in coming up this year because the cars are even. But he's young, and it's going to take him a little while. Some people pick stuff up just like that. Some people, it takes them a few years. Like you look at Martin Truex, he was in the series for a long time. Now Martin Truex is at the absolute top. He's one of the best drivers in the game. So it's just some guys, it takes them a little bit longer. So we'll have to wait and see with Harrison Burton. Let's see. Stevie Ray, I appreciate it, man. Subscribed when I was at 2000. Thanks, man. Harrison Burton was not ready for Cup. I mean, that's a fair argument. He was not ready for Cup, but I think with the new car, it sort of leveled the playing field for everybody. So I think that was his logic coming up. I think the same thing with Todd Gilliland. I think he was like, well, it's a new car, so it's going to be new for everybody. So being a rookie this year won't be as big a deal. But I do think that a little more seasoning for both of those guys would have helped. But I think they're definitely both really good drivers. I think if they stick with Harrison Burton, and I think Todd Gilliland's in an even better situation because he's been working with that team for a longer time. I think they'll both be really good. Have I ever gone to the F1 venues in the U.S.? I have not gone, but I do plan on going. But I will have to save up for like a year to go to one because the F1 tickets in the United States are like one of the hottest tickets. Trent asked that. One of the hottest tickets right now. So they're definitely going to be super expensive. So I'm going to have to save some money to make that adventure. But I definitely want to go. I want to go. Hopefully, I can get in there while Daniel Ricciardo is still driving because he's one of the big reasons I pulled from McLaren. Daniel Ricciardo's got more personality than just about everybody in NASCAR, and I would like to see him drive in NASCAR at some point because I know he is somewhat interested. Yeah, so Honda is developing. They've hired a whole bunch of new people at Honda Development, and they're developing something, and they're not talking really about what it is. They've said it's for IMSA. So from what I've heard, IMSA and NASCAR are going to fully integrate and merge. I know they're owned by the same company, but they're fully going to integrate and merge. So them saying they're working on it for IMSA, that doesn't really mean anything. I think they're working on a NASCAR package. But yeah, that's some things I've heard, and I don't want to get into that and start rumors, but I think Honda is going to come in as well as Dodge. Do you feel Jeffrey Earnhardt will get another ride with quality equipment? I think with all the fans he gained, I think if anybody was paying attention, they would sponsor Earnhardt. Danny B said if they stuck me with Matty D and Paul Menard at least 2 years, I think surely they'll give Harrison Burton 2 years. I think so too. I think they'll stick with Harrison Burton for a while because I think he's got a lot of money behind him, one, and I think he's a young kid, so there's a lot of upside. Brandon, let's go. Brandon said, I love Matty D for sure. Matty D, he you either like him or you don't like him. That's the kind of driver I like. Like there's no in between. He you know exactly what he's about and what he's doing. So that's the kind of driver I like. I like drivers that have a bold personality. Kyle Busch to the 10 car next season. What do you think? I think Kyle Busch is staying in the 18. I think he did that whole deal just to put some pressure on Toyota and Joe Gibbs because he's tired of being in limbo. He wants his contract now, so he'll probably be back in that 18 because I think Joe Gibbs would be crazy to let Kyle Busch go. But if they do let him go, there will be people lining up to sign him, and there's probably no problem finding a sponsor for somebody that wins that much. And Steve Manning said, "No way, Rowdy stays with Joe Gibbs." So some people totally disagree with me, which is what makes NASCAR fun, right? So let's hypothetically talk about that. If he does leave, where would he go? I think something like that, either him or Truex getting released from Joe Gibbs would be something I could see the impetus for Junior Motorsports if they could get a driver like that had some funding behind them. I think that would take away a lot of their risk of putting a newer driver in there. If they could get a veteran driver like that, I think Junior Motorsports would move up. They would probably buy the charter of that 77 from Spire and just run out of the same shop or something, sort of like what Colleague and RCR does. 2 cars out of the same shop but different teams type deal. Even though RCR and Colleague would be, I guess, 4 cars out of the same shop. But you get what I'm saying. So I could see something like that happening. Tony Stewart, he loves talent, so I could see him going to Stewart Haas. Even though they've got basically Ryan Preece waiting in the wings. But you never know. You never know. So it could go either way. I just think he'll stay at Gibbs because I think Toyota would be crazy to let the best driver they've ever have leave. Just as far leave. Why? Because their HPD in California is putting together a brand new R&D team. And they're saying they're building the stuff for IMSA, but car fixing to merge at some point this season. I know they're owned by the same person, but they're fully going to integrate and merge. So look for that. I've heard from pretty good sources that will happen. So yeah, might as well start a rumor. But I think that's absolutely going to happen. I don't think the 2 series will merge. I think it's just going to be like a merge of the upper management type deal. The only thing preventing Ty Gibbs from the 18 car is that he's too short to get in the car. He is a pretty short little guy, man. But apparently he knows how to throw those hands. He's been practicing some boxing, apparently. Larry Probus. What's up, BB? What's up, Larry? Somebody needs to contact Elon Musk to buy NASCAR to fix the point system. The rules, the point system were better in the 70s. So that's a big issue. I've floated out the idea of a triple crown, right? So you give you have a full season winner, right? And then you would have the playoffs like you have them now, right? And then whoever wins the most races. Those are 3 things that would get rewarded. And so you have 3 things to look at in the playoffs. You've got the full season champion, you've got the playoff champion. So you would reward three guys, but if one guy could win all 3, like essentially Kyle Larson did last year, he won the most races, he won the regular season, and he won the playoffs, you would win the NASCAR Triple Crown. That's something I would really like to see if they really are so dead set on keeping this playoff system. There's nothing saying you can't have a regular season, like a full season champion and a playoff champion. So that's something I think NASCAR could look at. That would make everybody happy. The people that like the playoffs, they would still get the playoffs, and the people that like the full season champion would get to keep the full season champion. I read really slow, so if I'm missing your questions, I apologize. Rowdy is my guy, but I think he is fed up and wants to move on. That is a lot of people think that. I don't think that. I think he loves being there. I think he's just a person that also likes to complain about things. That's part of what makes him a really good race driver. He's never really happy with anything, and he always wants the car better. But it can also sabotage sometimes your regular life, if that makes any sense. So I think he likes it at Joe Gibbs. I think he just wants his contract. I think in his mind it's disrespectful he doesn't have a contract yet after all the wins and stuff he's had over at JGR. So I think that's where he was coming from with his comments. Please, God, don't let Kyle Busch walk into a Dale Jr. shop. That would put a lot of people's heads on fire. What do you think Fox will put in the booth next year? I think it's great hearing Junior on Sunday. I have no idea what Fox is going to do. Not even a clue. I hope they keep Mike Joy because he's a legend. When he steps down, I think that's the biggest thing a lot of people have to worry about because he's getting up there in age. He's still killing it, though. He's so good. I don't know. when he steps away, that's going to be the biggest deal because he's really good. He's been the glue that's held that thing together. So I don't know. Yeah, he did keep his helmet on Connor Brown, so that's true. Yeah, that's a fair point. Connor said, "Bruh can throw them hands when he's got that helmet on." So that's a fair point. He did keep the helmet on. Honda V8 Wild, yeah. I mean, Honda problems building anything. Honda makes amazing power. They make F1, or they had made an F1 engine for a long time, but I think a hybrid V8, which I think is what NASCAR will put in the car, I think is right up Honda's alley because it goes into that green technology type deal. So they said they won't build any more ICE engines, internal combustion engines, but a hybrid engine like that would be up their alley. I think they would stick with that. Roger Penske should have left BK in the 2 car and gave him better equipment. Honestly, he's the only driver I think that would have brought him in a cup, brought him a cup. Rich Hill said that. The Brad Keselowski deal was really weird. I feel like Roger Penske wanted to keep Brad Keselowski around as long as he felt like he could get a discount. But Penske is kind of like the Boston Red Sox in baseball. Once a guy gets like past 35, they don't want to mess with him anymore. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see what they do with Joey Logano, because I think Logano knows that Penske is like that. And so Logano knows he's got about 4 or 5 more years with Penske, and I think that's part of the reason he drives so aggressively, because he knows once you get about 35 at Penske, Penske moves away from you, and they bring in new talent. Like if you look at Penske's track record at about 35, all those drivers are gone, with the exception of Rusty Wallace, who was that was just a different era. Kyle Busch is 36 and Kevin Harvick is 46. Harvick's move to SHR was really good for him. I think it would be a good move for Busch. Here's the deal. If Joe Gibbs Racing lets Kyle Busch go, that's going to be an angry Kyle Busch. So wherever he went after that, he would be, doing his absolute best to beat them. Like he's got his grudge against Hendrick right now, right? He always wanted to outdo Hendrick when he was at Joe Gibbs. And Joe Gibbs knows that. So you got to factor in, if you let Kyle Busch go and he's got that chip on his shoulder, he's already good, but he's going to be even more focused wherever he goes next. So that is super, super fair. Connor Brown said KFB is a perfectionist. That's for sure. He's absolutely a perfectionist. When he raced in that Denny Hamlin late model deal at South Boston, some of the Nelson Motorsport guys were helping him with the late model they had over there. And they said he jumped out of the car and he told them everything that needed to be changed on it. And they tell this story all the time. And they're like, he said, if you don't believe me, you can get the tape measure out and measure it if you want to. But he was that specific with the adjustments he wanted made to that car. And they said, we adjusted it like that. And he went out and he ran great. So he's super perfection oriented. And he knows about those cars. So he knows what he wants out of the car, and he knows what the car needs to react to the way he wants to drive it. Heat races would be great in NASCAR. Aaron Flynn said, I agree with you. I think heat races over stage races every day, because my thing is, people talk about heat races all the time. Sometimes the heat race is better than the actual race. But people I don't think I've ever heard anybody talk about a stage race was so exciting. But that's just my 2 cents. And I think at a road course, they need to get rid of all of it. Just let the road course run its course, because no cautions at a road course. That's part of what makes F1 so cool. They throw minimal cautions because they run road courses. So you don't need to break up a road course race. So that's I wouldn't even break up a road course race. But at the circle tracks, I think heat races over stages. Will Ty Dillon ever get a win? I hope so. Jason Pons. Ty Dillon's sitting in probably the best equipment he's ever sat in. And I think if he's going to win, this is going to be his best opportunity to do so. I still don't know what the guy's got, to be totally honest with you. I don't know how good he is or how good he could be. But I'm with you. I'm a Petty GMS. I was a Richard Petty fan my entire life. So I don't know. I hope he gets a win, though, for sure. What is your opinion on racing on Sunday night between 7 and 10? I tell you what, I'm old school. I wish they would race the Sunday races pretty much after lunch. But they're trying to get the West Coast market, so I understand that too. So I don't know. I like a nighttime race, but if it's a nighttime race, from a fan perspective, I'd rather have it on Saturday night. But a nighttime Sunday race is awesome too. So I mean, I don't know. It just depends on what kind of job, what shift you work. It's a lot that goes into that. I don't know. I would have to look at the logistics of that. Custer is the most disappointing driver to ever come up from Xfinity, and I'm a freaking fan of him. But I have to admit, he's been me. Molten Rage said that Custer is really good. He has had some bad luck this year. He has had some really, really, really good runs, but he has just had some bad luck. Like at Martinsville, he had one of the faster cars, and they lost the tire. So I mean, and he couldn't make up the track position because nobody could really, aside from like 2 or 3 people, Chastain, Austin Dillon, and William Byron, nobody else really could pass at Martinsville. Trent said, I feel like regarding Fox, the amount of commercial breaks in the last few races has grown and it's jarring. Hope they figure out some sort of streaming deal sometime. I agree. Because if you look, somebody did a breakdown the other day on Twitter. 45% of a NASCAR race is commercials. And then they did the other sports. And the most another sport was like at 30 something percent, 32 or 33%. So NASCAR has a lot of commercials. Danny B, people often forget about how much Kyle Busch knows about cars, and he's making sure Brexton knows too. I think that's a good point too. I think Brexton will be as good as his dad, kind of like Chase Elliott is now. I do too, and I think Kyle Busch will race until him and Brexton race in the same series. And I don't know if he'll be. I don't think he'll retire until Brexton gets to Cup and they race at least one race in Cup, or maybe he retires and comes and races a race in Cup with Brexton, but I think he's definitely going to drive until then. So I think Kyle Busch will probably be driving until he's about 45 or 46, if I had to guess. But yeah, for sure, Kyle Busch. You don't really think about Kyle Busch like this, but Kyle Busch can work on a race car. He doesn't get any type of credit for that. There's a lot of drivers that don't know the first thing about a race car, but Kyle Busch is not one of them. Kyle Busch can get down there and work on a race car, and he absolutely will. So that's something. And I think he doesn't let people know that on purpose because he likes to play the villain to some extent. So he wants people to think he doesn't know how to work on a race car and stuff like that. But he knows his way around a race car for sure. Escobar said, I hate the playoffs. I don't agree with having 3 drivers with the same amount of points going into the last race. Yeah, it's sort of sketchy that the last race. I just don't agree with how they do it. Like, if that's going to award your overall champion. But like I said, if you did a triple crown, I would have no problem with it then, because then it's just exciting to be exciting. Who's going to win the playoffs? Who's going to win the total season championship? And who's going to get the most wins? Can somebody pull off the triple crown? I think that would be so much fun to watch. I wish NASCAR would take that approach. Stages at a road course destroy any strategy. Yeah, I agree with that, Connor Brown. That's 100% accurate. Let's go. Brandon said, hey, Bubba, if you don't mind me asking, you seem dialed into NASCAR like you're part of it. Are you? I hope so. You've got fire takes, my dude. Yeah, so I work on late model cars that race at South Boston. Jason Barnes and Daniel Moss is who I'm helping this year. But I've helped some other guys in the past. So that's pretty much one of my jobs that I do. So, yeah, I guess I'm technically part of NASCAR in a way. I got a little NASCAR crew member card or whatever. So I guess technically I am part of NASCAR, but I'm not like up in the middle of Cup Series stuff. I don't know. I do know some people, but I'm not like super plugged in like you. Like, I don't know. It's weird. But I do know quite a few people at the late model level. So I've seen a lot of people race. I've seen a lot of people racing in Cup when they were racing late models. So I got a pretty good feel for some of their personalities. TJ Van said, I wanted to see Jones win. Man, my heart was beating out of my chest. I thought that 43 was going to victory lane. I was good with Larson or the 43 winning, obviously, but man, neither one of them did it. But like, congrats to Ross, man. He pulled it off. Let's see. Escobar said, I hate when people complain that Cup races are too long. Here's the deal with that. Like, Cup races are not too long. The issue when somebody says something is too long, it's because they're not happy with the product. So NASCAR needs to fix the product. If you fix the product, people will never complain about it being too long, because people will sit there and binge like a whole season of Netflix or several seasons of Netflix in a weekend. So it's not that people don't have time or it's too long. It's just they're not entertained with what they see. Do I think Martinsville racetrack should change? No, I don't think Martinsville should change. I think they need to change the tire. The tire was probably the issue there. Should the All-Star race be at Homestead next year on the same weekend as the F1 race? That would be a madhouse. I would be for it, but I don't know if they will ever do that. RJ Carlton sent that one. I would love it because I would love to spend a ton of money at both of those, but I don't know if they'll ever organize it and do it like that, but it would be really cool. I think eventually NASCAR and IndyCar will have a weekend together though. So, and that'll probably be at the Nashville road course, maybe. I got tickets to North Wilkesboro Speedway to support what they are doing there. Aaron Flynn, good on you, my man. I think Wilkesboro is going to be a fun race. Tommy the Tree said maybe they should put you in the booth. I don't know if I'm ready for that, much less the world. Scott S., the World of Outlaws will be at North Wilkesboro. I'm definitely going to try. If I can get that time off, I will definitely try to be at that World of Outlaws race at North Wilkesboro. I'm excited to see it dirt because it's only going to be dirt for a little while. I know a lot of people are like, oh, they're going to leave it dirt. No, they've already said they're going to repave it. So if you want to see a dirt race at North Wilkesboro, make sure you come in there and watch that dirt race while it is dirt because it's a limited time only. If I'm being honest, Briscoe has been disappointing in my opinion. Yes, he has a win, but he only got it because he got the position on pit road. Would have just gotten a top 10 if he didn't. So Chase Briscoe is he's one of those drivers that's sort of like a kamikaze driver. He's either going to win or he's going to wreck. He's that type of guy. So he's going to sort of be like that for a long time till he figures out or matures or whatever and figures out how to realize when you got a third place car, sometimes you can finish second, but you can't win. It's weird to say that. You should always go for a win. I'm not saying that, but sometimes you got to realize I got a fifth place car. Let's make sure I get fifth place. But that's the old school way of looking at it. Under this point system, it doesn't reward you to just finish consistently. So you might as well go for it. So I don't know. Maybe my way of thinking about it's old school. John Hale said, "Call me old school. This network made drama. This network made drama is getting out of hand. The Twitter hurt is childish." And politically correct NASCAR is sickening. Yeah, like the PC stuff has gone way crazy at this point. I don't support that. Like I just think I'm pretty simple, man. Live your life and treat people the way you want to be treated. And I think if you just follow that, you'll be all right. So if and here's my deal with people being upset. If you wake up every day and look to be upset, you will eventually find something to make yourself upset. And I feel like a lot of people on Twitter do that. And I feel like that's a miserable way to live. So I don't know. Do I do iRacing? I know I was a Forza guy, and I tried iRacing for a little bit, but my internet is so slow that it didn't work out for me. So I played Forza in most of my video game days, and when I started working on late models, I just, to be totally honest, I don't have time. But I do like it. I think I ran South Boston on it a lot. It's pretty fun, and I like that you can just race a whole bunch of different cars, and it's really cool. Hang out with your friends, talk junk. They've got match races, which I think was a big reason that the whoever bought MSG games, like MSG, whatever that is, whoever bought out 704 games, that's part of the reason they failed. You couldn't match with friends and have fun doing that. Keep dirt on dirt. Yeah, I agree. Like, I like Bristol being Bristol, and if they want to race on dirt, I wish they would do it at an actual dirt track, but at least we have a dirt racing cup. That's all I'll say about that. I just wish it wasn't I wish they would reward actual dirt tracks, because I don't know. It's just how I feel about it. I'm disappointed with NASCAR. Goodyear tailoring the NASCAR's wants at a racetracks. I'm sorry, but you should get what you get, and like any other stock car racing. Yeah, one consistent tire should be fine. Like, they just make one tire that falls off, or maybe three, like one for super speedways, one for all the short tracks, and one for all the road courses. Yeah, I agree with that, John Hale, because I don't know, making a different tire for each track is just kind of weird. But that's NASCAR. NASCAR is weird sometimes. It's all fun and games till Pocono turns out better than Martinsville this year. That's true, Trent. Hopefully Pocono's a good race. I like Pocono. The people at Pocono put on a great track experience. I just wish the race at Pocono was as exciting as it could be at some other places. So hopefully this year it will be. Then he needs to focus on driving, not making jokes. At least on Twitter, like Twitter is not a place for jokes. We've learned that several times over from several people. Let's Go Brandon said South Boston is lit. Yeah, South Boston is one of the best short track experiences you'll ever get to see. So if you're ever in South Boston, Virginia, it's a good track to go to. It's run really well. The guy running it is super cool. His name's Chase. He's pretty easy to get along with. From my dealings with him, some people who race at the track would say otherwise, but and I understand where they're coming from because if you're racing, sometimes you feel like the world's against you. So let me just get out of that politics because I got to go there. Austin Cindric is very disappointing this season. I'm being honest. Well, he won Daytona and he's a rookie, so I don't know. He's on the cusp of falling out of the top 16, but I don't know if he won that Daytona 500 and they're just like in full R&D mode. You never know when a guy wins the Daytona 500. They can R&D the entire season until the playoffs. So you never know what they got going on. But I was really expecting him to be a lot better on the road courses. But we'll see what happens. He's a young guy. Like you expect a rookie to be up and down. So you never know. We don't have a dirt track that can support Cup. That's true. Like, and I understand that you would have to build some infrastructure at whatever dirt track they're going to. That's a good point. I should have mentioned that too. Like, if you go to a dirt track, you have to build some infrastructure. But I think Eldora could handle it. And because when Eldora puts on their big show, so they're used to putting on a big show, they could add some grandstands and some basically some bathrooms and stuff like that. Invite food trucks over there, so you got plenty of vending for the people. But yeah, I think Eldora could be a track that handles it, but for sure they would have to add infrastructure to a dirt track. Do you think Jeffrey Earnhardt will get a full-time ride with RCR next year in the 3 and Xfinity? I hope he does. I really hope he does, because I think if sponsors were paying attention to how well it was received, it's sort of like Haley Deegan. You can't lose sponsoring Haley Deegan because so many people like her. It doesn't matter how good she runs. It's just people, her fans are super loyal and she's got a ton of them. So Jeffrey Earnhardt proved he can run really well in Xfinity in that race. And he's got about the same level of support from what I saw there. So I think if a sponsor is being really outgoing and paid attention to that, then they would see that would be a guy to sponsor, So his marketing team needs to get on that. Would be my thing to say there. But he definitely needs to. I think so. Yeah. NASCAR needs to give the Truck Series a few more Friday night dirt races. I think NASCAR needs to just do a lot of experimenting in Xfinity and trucks, and sort of leave Cup like it is. Like they need to try some stuff in Xfinity and the Truck Series and see how it plays out before they move it up to the Cup Series. So yeah. NASCAR needs to drop the stock and just call it Cup cars. I'd be for that. Adam Renaissance, I guess, said that. I struggle with the English language. Sorry. NASCAR, yeah, I would be okay with them dropping stock because they're far from stock these days, for sure. Have been for a long time. Do you think each team should be limited to the amount of cars they can race? They actually already are. So they have put serial numbers on these chassis, and you have to run them X amount of times before you can get rid of them or whatever. So NASCAR has gone that route with the new chassis. So you do have to at least run it X amount of times before you can get rid of it. And I think they have done the same thing with the motors. You have to run the motors X amount of times before you can rebuild it or get rid of it. Aaron Armstrong said, no way on Eldora. If you think Kentucky traffic was bad, you have no idea. So that's actually a point. Like a lot of people want Rockingham back. Well, if you ever want to see a traffic cluster, go to Rockingham. If they ever put Rockingham back on the schedule, that is the most absolute nightmare traffic you will ever see in your life. Now, I'm for Rockingham, and of course, I want to see Rockingham put back on the schedule. But if I'm being totally honest, there's about 10 tracks in front of Rockingham I'd rather see before they bring Rockingham back. I think that's a lot of people being nostalgic and remembering all the good times of Rockingham and not remembering any of the bad times, because Rockingham, as bad as people want it back, I don't know, man. That's some of the worst traffic you'll ever see. But thanks for chiming in, Aaron. Like, I've never been to Eldora, so I don't know anything about the traffic situation. So those are definitely things people need to look at too. But Rockinham's traffic was awful too. Sorry, people who want Rockingham back. I want Rockingham back as well, but like they need to do something about their traffic. Tyler Reddick first win. I think Tyler Reddick will get a win this season. He's been knocking on the door. I know I've been hard on him, but that's just because I'm an RCR guy and I'm probably overly critical of him to an extent. Presley McKinley Hendricks had an underrated Daytona performance. They also dominated Dover last year. I think Byron is going to have a chance to win it all this year. William Byron has come into his own. People forget how young William Byron is because you feel like he's been around forever. But he's sort of in that Joey Logano situation where he's been in Cup a long time, but he's still super young. Well, I know Logano is like 30 now, but like William Byron, he has a chance to be special. Like that's the thing about Hendrick. There is not a bad driver at Hendrick. Rick Hendrick has done an amazing job collecting talent over there, young talent, and they're all starting to come into their own. How can we get any of those shirts you got? If you're talking about the Bologna Burger shirts, if you go to the last video I posted, there's a link there. And these shirts, like this right here, I got this from NASCAR.com. But also I buy shirts when I go to the racetrack. And sometimes I'll visit a race shop when I get a chance and I'll pick up a shirt there. So those are the ones I pick up. And also the driver, if the driver has a website, I try to buy a shirt from the driver's website because I know that money goes straight to the driver. I've been seeing much better racing with the World of Outlaws, late models, and Lucas Oil and the XR series passing, just fighting for every inch, every dollar, and every tire. John Hale said that. That's for sure. It's when you get to Cup, you sort of like, it seems like some of these guys can sometimes get complacent because it's sort of like in boxing or UFC fighting. Once a guy gets money, sometimes he's not the same fighter. And that's it. The same thing can be said in Cup. Once a guy gets a bunch of money, sometimes he's not the same driver. But World of Outlaws doesn't seem to have that problem. So I don't know. I feel like if you're racing World of Outlaws, you're just doing it because you love racing. So I think that's part of it too. Some people race cars because it's a financial decision. Just laying it out there. It is what it is. Steve Ray said, "Amen on the rock. Traffic was horrible the last time I was there, and I saw Kyle Petty lead all day." I think you went to the same race I went to. Was that like 1991 or 92 in that mellow yellow car where Ernie Irvan finished second, Stevie Ray? Because I won money on Ernie Irvan, and I was still mad that day because it was so cold, nasty, wet, rainy, and Kyle Petty led every stinking lap. And there was only like 3 cars on the lead lap, and Dale Earnhardt burned a piston, and I was ill. It was just a bad day. Let's see. How much sensitivity training will Hamlin get? As much as he needs until NASCAR said he's had enough. Picks for the race this weekend. I don't know. I haven't looked at the numbers yet. But I feel like Hendrick and Joe Gibbs Racing would probably be there. But I will do a full preview. But Hendrick and Joe Gibbs are always really good at Dover. And so I would expect somebody from one of those camps to win. But every once in a while, somebody like Eric Almirola and Stuart Haas, they'll just hit a setup and they'll just absolutely whoop the field. So you never know. Dover's a weird track. It's basically whoever can get it dialed in, like somebody said earlier. Like if you hit the setup at Dover, you can wear them out. I just wish Pikes Peak International Raceway would come back. That was hilarious when you respond. So yeah, Rich L said that. So we were talking about Pikes Peak when it used to be on the Cup Series tour. And this is back in the day, like when you had just like a newspaper, the internet was no such thing. So I was just reading this newspaper and I saw the Busch Series schedule released and I saw Pikes Peak and I was like, is NASCAR running Pikes Peak? Are they taking their cars and running up the Pikes Peak hill? I had no idea they had a circle track. So I was like, NASCAR is going crazy. They're running the Busch Series cars up Pikes Peak. I've literally had to wait the entire season until that race came on. And then when I saw a short track, I was like, I don't know. I was a little kid. So I was like, to me, I don't know. I was just dumb. I was a dumb little kid. I thought they were going to race the NASCAR cars up Pikes Peak. Yeah, he stunk up the show in '92. Stevie Ray. I was there, Stevie Ray. I was a little kid freezing my butt off, but I was there with you that race. I was a big Kyle Petty fan. I was actually named after Kyle Petty. Just in case anybody wondered what my doesn't know, my name's Kyle. That's why I pull for Kyle Larson, and I'm not going to sit here and lie. I like Kyle Busch too, just because of his first name. I don't like what he says on the microphone sometimes, but I like him because Kyle Petty was really good for a period of time, but then there was a long period of time where Kyle Petty was not good, and I suffered through that. So I'm glad we've got Kyles that win now. So I'm happy. I'm happy we've got winning Kyles. Goodyear has an unlimited tire supply. Hoosier, oh my goodness. So John Hale, that's a good point. So if you're not privy to what's going on in your local short track stuff, Hoosier and American Tire cannot get nylon. And we are having a really time in late models and everything else getting tires to race on and practice on. So sometimes you'll show up to a racetrack. There are no practice tires anymore. It's over with. You just got to go find some and soak them. Or tire prep them. Soaking a tire is tire prepping. Which is illegal in a race, but you can do it to practice. But so you show up and you bolt on a tire and you hope that whatever you've been practicing on matches up to that tire, because tires are no longer, they're just really hard to come by right now. And it's going to come to a point if we can't get something. I don't know if a lot of these tracks will finish out the season. It's putting a real strain on the racing economy at the lower levels because we can't get tires. That's an issue I've wanted to bring up, but my stuff is mostly about Cup. So I don't want to. People come here for Cup, and a lot of people, and I don't want to talk about stuff that they don't really come here to see. But for sure, tires are going to be a serious issue. I don't know how Goodyear has all these tires, and these other companies can't get tires though. It's really weird. We need some bigger racing back in Colorado. So Colorado is a huge market that NASCAR has not tapped into, and I'm surprised they're not racing. Utah and Colorado. And Washington State are three places that I think NASCAR should take a look at because they're huge, huge markets. And yeah, so Dwayne Mansell is talking about the people that were cheering when Bubba got hurt. Yeah, just because you disagree with what a guy says, like that's not cool to pull for somebody to get hurt. That's so not good. But it is what it is. Dennis Richards said, I named my garden gnome Bologna Burger in BB's honor. He protects my plants. I can't say that. I got to keep it safe, Dennis. But I support it, buddy. Yeah, I do look. I get it. I look like a garden gnome, so I appreciate it, guys. Aaron Armstrong, rest in peace, Adam Petty. Adam Petty was going to be really good. If you've never seen him, YouTube some of his older races. Adam Petty was going to be the man. Maybe not the man, but he was going to be really good. And that was a big hit to the Petty legacy. So yeah, I do have a Adam Petty tribute shirt when Bubba Wallace ran that throwback scheme. Austin Dillon, Michigan winner this year. That is a really good pick, Dylan Brown. People don't know how good Austin Dillon is at Michigan. So Michigan would be a good pick for Austin Dillon to sneak a win. It would also be a good pick to see Tyler Reddick get a win because for whatever reason, RCR has a really good setup for Michigan. Claude Aviles, am I pro BLM? I'm not pro BLM, the organization, but the concept, the idea behind it, yes. I think everybody, nobody wants to see anybody get hurt. So the organization, no, because I think they've been found out to have some issues with their taxes and stuff, possibly, allegedly. I'm not going to put that in investigation, but the idea behind it, I think everybody's behind the idea behind it, but the actual organization, no. Aaron Flynn, so JRM to field 5 cars in Xfinity. Yeah, and so in Xfinity, you can field as many cars as you want to. Yeah, there's no limit in Xfinity. I think it's just in Cup that they have the limit. I'll have to go check that, but I think for sure it's only in Cup that they have the limit of 4. I need to do something like this once a week. This is cool. when you do live chats. I'll think about it for sure. They're a Marxist organization. Some people, I don't want to get into politics here, guys, but yes, that's been said about BLM that was originally in their thing that they were Marxists. I mean, vote for whoever you want to vote for. I could care. I mean, that's your business. Like, everybody, vote for who you want to. My personal thoughts on it is just about all politicians are crooks, and so I'm not going to support any of them unless I know them personally. So your channel is geared toward Cup. Grassroots is where the future drivers are coming from. So I used to do a Tier 2 Tuesday thing where I talked about that stuff. So if you guys want to see me talk about some Tier 2 Tuesday drivers, I'll start talking about some guys again. I just it didn't get a lot of traction, but if I'll try it again, I'll bring it back. I have no problem doing that. We can talk about the Tier 2 guys. And it's actually up still on the banner, Tier 2 Tuesday. So I'll bring that back and see if it is going good. SC1212, what's up, brother? Watching from Key West, Florida. Oh, man, Key West is cool. There are so many chickens in the road in Key West. I was so surprised by that. So if you ever go to Key West, drive slow because there's a lot of chickens going in the roads. What's your favorite all-time Kyle Larson paint scheme? I really liked his throwback last year, to be totally honest, but probably my all-time favorite was that 42 Mellow Yellow. Like when he put the wig on and went like all out. He went totally like all out for it, trying to get the fan vote for best in class or whatever. He went the full-on Kyle Petty, so that I always thought that was really cool. Live chat for the Darlington throwback schemes. That would really I'll let me see if I can come up with something for that. Yeah, that would probably be a pretty good idea. Yeah, Sean Hartman, keep it racing for sure. For sure. I will avoid yeah, I'll pre-read some of these questions for sure. Yeah, I'm staying out of it. ARCA driver Daniel Dye arrested. I had not heard that, so I'll have to look into that, see what's going on. Oh yeah, I forgot about that, Molten. Yeah, so Austin Dillon got a top 10 and at the end of the stage, and then Brad Keselowski came down. Either Brad Keselowski came down or Austin Dillon came up, but either way, it was like the end of a stage, and it was just so bizarre. But you remember when Austin Dillon got wrecked at the end of a stage, and it was just a really awkward looking deal. I don't know exactly what happened, but that was the end of his day. Yeah, I remember that. That was I think that was last year. I think that was terrible. I wasn't even mad because it was so bizarre, but yeah, I don't know what happened there still to this day. I don't know if Austin came up, his spotter didn't tell him somebody was there, or if Brad came down, or I don't know. That was just a very bizarre situation. And I'm an RCR guy, like for sure. So, it is what, like, that was a really weird situation. How many cup wins do you think Larson will have by the end of his career? That's hard to say. That's hard to say because he's sort of like Tony Stewart. I don't know if he'll stay racing this for a long period of time. His heart's in dirt racing, so it's without knowing how long he'll actually race NASCAR Cup Series. I don't know. He strikes me as sort of like a Cale Yarborough type of guy, where he'll do it as long as it's fun, and then he'll go back and do sort of what he wants to do. He'll sort of race on his own terms toward the end of it. After all the build-up for dirt, did it fill the stands and improve the ratings? The ratings were for sure improved, and I think for the spring race at Bristol, I think it was some of the best attendance they'd had since 2017, I want to say. So I think the Bristol dirt race was a success, and I think any dirt race would have been a success. So yeah, I would say Bristol is a success, but I think I mean, it's just me personally. I'd rather see it at Eldora, but that's just because I want to reward the dirt fans for getting the dirt race done. Let's see. Big RCR fan too. Think Jeffrey will race in the summer at Daytona. I think there's a good chance that Jeffrey Earnhardt races that summer Daytona race for sure. The cup race is going to get good. This is some of the most competitive cup racing we've seen in a long, long time. Sean Hartman said that. That's for sure. I think the Cup racing this season has been better than any racing I've seen in a long time. I used to be a mod on an NFL YouTube channel. You go live, your subscriber levels will go off the hook. Leaderboards YouTube has you can do the race. It's a thought. I'll have to think about that. Because I would have to come up with a whole different setup because I've got no TV in this room. This room's actually kind of small for a studio. It's not a small room. Let's see. Daniel Dyke punched a kid in the Jacobs and got arrested. Well, yeah, that'll do it. So if he did that, T-Van, for sure. If you do that to somebody, lock him under the jail and give him 30 days. That's no way to fight. You can't be doing that. Yeah, so that's bad. What is your favorite throwback scheme at Darlington? My favorite throwback scheme at Darlington so far, I like that Marty Robbins car that Corey LaJoy has, but I'm also a big Mark Martin guy, so I like both of the Mark Martin schemes. And I also, I was never a big Jeff Gordon fan, but when he came out with that flame car, just because I was an Earnhardt fan, like I missed the greatness of Jeff Gordon because I hated him because I was an Earnhardt fan, but I missed that the greatness of Jeff Gordon. But when he came out with that flame car, even I had to admit, I was like, that was a good looking car for its day. So that flame car has got to be up there. So I think any of those four have to be top of the charts as far as throwbacks go. And I'd have to see some in front of me also because I'm sure I forgot at least one. What's the best era in NASCAR in your opinion? The best era was probably the 80s and 90s because there was money in it then, but the sponsors weren't so overbearing. And you still had blue collar guys racing. So they were a lot more relatable to your everyday fan. Like a lot of the guys racing now, a lot of them were well off. Not all of them by any means, but a lot of them were well off and they're harder to relate to. So I think when you get a guy like Ross Chastain and Chase Briscoe, they're far more relatable because they can talk about everyday stuff and they sort of get it. And some guys, and it's not their fault. I mean, they're born in. Everybody wants to do well for their kids and give them the best life they can give them. So I'm not taking anything away from that. It's just most people are not born super wealthy like that. So it's really hard to relate to them. So when you get guys that come up blue collar, like the vast majority of the world comes up, they're more relatable. So the 80s and 90s were sort of that last era. Basically when Jeff Gordon is the first of those young kids that just sort of never had a real job. Like, just let me put it that way. Jeff Gordon's job his entire life was driving a race car. He was the first generation of that. And like before that, they were all blue collar guys. Before Jeff Gordon, the average rookie in NASCAR was like 30 years old. Now look at the average age of the rookies in NASCAR Cup Series. So it is, sort of, that's the way it goes. Haley liking the Alabama gang is like ice in a desert. I don't know. I missed the comment somewhere in there. Let's see. Congrats on 5K. Thanks, Kyle Davenport. Solid first name. I like it. Let's see. Explaining the Austin Dillon Michigan wreck. So Brad and Dillon were fighting for 6th. That's for sure. I remember that. But for some unknown reason, Brad got to the it was really weird. Like just the angle they had on TV, I couldn't tell if Brad went down or Austin came up. And I mean, I'm an RCR fan, so I'll just be totally honest. I felt like Brad came down, but I know I'm biased in that. I can't tell. LaJoy's chicken pit last year, Escobar for sure, man. Stroker Ace will always be the best paint scheme. And I think Rick Ware did it a year before that, but Corey LaJoy's was really cool last year. The chicken pit, Clyde Torkel's chicken pit, fastest chicken in the South. The Stroker Ace will always be the best throwback, other than maybe a Richard Petty for me personally. But the Stroker Ace throwback was the bomb. Probably the best throwback of all time was when the City Chevrolet of William Byron. That was probably the best all-time throwback. But my favorite all-time throwback, definitely Stroker Ace. Let's see. I'd like to see Buescher win one. Yeah, Chris Buescher, he's sort of like the Neil Bonnet of NASCAR. Neil Bonnet was a great driver, but he had this knack for going to teams when they weren't good. So I feel like Chris Buescher's in that same situation. He goes to teams that have had good years, but by the time he gets to the team, they're having a bad year. So I don't know what Chris Buescher has, but I feel like he's definitely a solid race car driver. We saw that in Xfinity. What generation cars do you like? If I'm being totally honest, I like the 40s and 50s, like when NASCAR first started, because they were like real cars and racing. Like that would be the era I love the most. And obviously, you just have clips of those. That would probably be my favorite era. But as far as eras that I lived through, the old Monte Carlos from the 80s were the bomb. And 90s, even though I barely remember them, but like the cars from the 80s were still cool because they basically looked like factory cars, even though they totally worked on them differently underneath. But yeah, those 80s and 90s Monte Carlos and Ford Thunderbirds and Tauruses, they were definitely 80s and 90s was the best body style to me. But I don't know. I did kind of like the car tomorrow because it had the spoiler on the back. I was a spoiler guy, so I don't know. But obviously on super speedways, when a car goes backwards, they flip. So, oh yeah, the 72 Dodge and Plymouth with the wing on the back, those were awesome too, for sure. Good call, Dennis Richards. Yeah, the undefeated Dodge Plymouth Superbird, I think they were called. Those were awesome. RCR fan, sorry to hear about that. Yeah, I grew up a Richard Petty and a RCR fan. So yeah, that's who I pull for. But it was basically Earnhardt and Richard Petty, and now I just pull for those two teams and Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch because they got their first names are Kyle. So I definitely pull for them. I love that Kyle gave Dinger another shot. Would love to see him win the Xfinity Championship this year. Man, I would really like to see AJ Allmendinger win a championship too. He's another really cool guy. So yeah. Let's see. I race Superflow only and I race in next gen. I vote Superflow dynos. Oh, there you go. That's a good one. I want to see Eric Jones win. I think a lot of people want to see Eric Jones win. I didn't realize how many people wanted to see Eric Jones win in that 43 until last weekend, but it's good to know everybody wants to see Richard Petty get win 200 in that 43 numbered car. Like, obviously, Richard Petty has 200 wins himself, but some of those wins came, I guess, in the 42 or whatever car he drove. I need to look that up as a Richard Petty fan, but it was before my time, so I don't know. When he first started, I think he drove the 42 and then moved on, or the 44 or something, and then moved on to the 43. And his nickname was Squirrel. Not a lot of people know that. It was Richard Squirrel Petty before he was the king. So there's a fun fact for you. Jones deserved that win. Should have stayed low for sure, but those things happen so fast. John Bombright, what's up? Yep, I'm live. I finally got live. The 90s Pontiacs were the worst. LOL. Yeah, they were terrible until they went to the wide body. When they went to the wide body, back when they were what was that thing? They called it a 2+2, but the Pontiac that looked just like the Monte Carlo was really awesome before they went to the Grand Prix. So let's see, what's your take on ECR engines blowing up? It sounds to me from what I heard, they got a bad batch of timing belts, and so somebody had a horrible job at the shop the next day of going through every single timing belt and finding the ones with that number on them and throwing them away. So I feel for that person because that is a terrible job. So yeah, but it sounded like a bad batch of parts. Every once in a while that happens, and yeah. my buddy just texted me and said I look super cute on my live stream. Thanks, John. Let's see. COT, excuse me while I vacate the contents of my. Yeah, the COT was not good. I just like the wing on the back. For sure. The front end of the car was horrible. I was just talking about the wing on the back. I thought it was cool. It was a gimmick though. I'm a sucker for a gimmick. Haley Deegan's throwback scheme at Darlington. Oh yeah. Bobby Allison and the Alabama gang. That is a really good looking throwback. I like that. I'm sort of a stickler for detail. So she put an outline around her one number, and I don't like that, but I think NASCAR made her do it to make the number stand out. That looks like something NASCAR made them do to get it approved. But I wish they had left it unbordered. I wish it was an unbordered one, but Who cares about my opinion? That's her car. Kyle Busch fan here since the Hendrick days. Yeah, man. Kyle Busch in that 5 car was pretty good. He was just a much younger, more vocal person. Yeah, I roll with Terry Labonte tag on my Buick Century. So those Buicks were actually pretty good looking cars back in the day. Google Dick Trickle and Bobby Allison's number 12 gold Miller High Life car. That car was one of the prettiest cars ever, in my opinion. It's gold and white, and it's got like a little bit of green, dark green trim that's almost black. Those cars were pretty awesome. One of my favorite cars of all time. 2 of my favorite movies as a kid, the Richard Petty story and Grease Lightning, for sure. For sure. There are a lot. I actually need to do probably a movie list at one point. So I'm going to think about doing that. Favorite payback, Kenseth takes out Logano. Sometimes you're the bat, sometimes you're the ball. Nobody likes being the ball. Yeah, I like it whenever somebody gets paid back. Like NASCAR has the good guys and their villains, and NASCAR definitely markets it like that. So whenever the villain gets paid back, that's when everybody stands up. And in that case, most people saw Joey Logano as the villain. If you're a Joey Logano fan, I'm not saying Joey Logano is a villain. I'm saying that's how people saw him in that moment. So it is what it is. Tell everyone about the Bologna burger name. It's so cool. Tony McCall. So the Bologna burger is a sandwich they serve at the local tracks that I went to growing up, Ace Speedway, Orange County, and South Boston. And every single one of them have a little bit of a different version of it. So if you're at the racetrack, check them out. But that's where the name came from. When I was a little kid, we went to the racetracks, and instead of getting like hot dogs or popcorn or something like that, we go grab bologna burgers. I personally put grilled onions, mustard, and yeah, that's pretty much how I roll with mine. At South Boston, they do grilled onions and peppers and mustard. So the key is grilling the onions. You don't want to ungrilled onion on that thing. So it is what it is. So at some point, you know what? I'm going. We'll figure something out about that. So I'm gonna show you guys what a real bologna burger looks like. So look forward to that in the future. About to fire up some Carb Club and iRacing, boys. Catch you there. All right. iRacing, go check out Let's Go Brandon on iRacing. Tell them what your tag is so they can check you out on iRacing. Does Kaylee Bryson have what it takes? Yeah, absolutely. And Toyota's big on Kaylee Bryson. She's in a lot of their commercials, and they wouldn't put her in the commercials if they weren't big on her. So I think you'll definitely see her moved up at some point if she wants to be. And I think she wants to be because she's been racing some late model stuff. I met Dick Trickle in the mid 80s, driving a 99 Chevrolet Silver Bullet. Oh man, that car was beautiful too. I know exactly what you're talking about. And I'm bad at names. Cuyahoga, Canada. I probably said that wrong, but I apologize. He let me eat with him and the crew. Good people. Dick Trickle was a really good guy, and it's terrible. He lived his whole life in a lot of pain because he as a little kid, he fell through. They were having fun in an abandoned house, and he fell through and he broke his hip, and his hip was never right, and it just bothered him his whole life, and it got so bad that he checked out on us because the pain was just so bad. So yeah, it was horrible that it ended that way. But anybody that talks, and I never met Dick Trickle, but anybody that talks about Dick Trickle talks about how nice he was, and he's probably one of the most underrated people ever because most people remember him from Dan Patrick and Keith Olbermann back in the day. They would do the NASCAR race rundown in the highlights, and then they would Dick Trickle 25th. So that's how most people remember Dick Trickle because they just liked his name. But he was a really cool guy, and he won everything in sight in late models and ASA and stuff like that. And a lot of your drivers like Mark Martin and Rusty Wallace, he showed them a lot of stuff, helped them as much as possible to get up to Cup. Unfortunately, by the time he got up to Cup, he was past his prime, but he still had a really good year that year that he won the Rookie of the Year in the 84. Basically the only full season he ran in good equipment. He won Rookie of the Year, and Google Dick Trickle's Rookie of the Year acceptance speech. It's hilarious. You'll see what kind of a character Dick Trickle was, but he's a cool guy. Was a cool guy. From the Burger Barn in Warrenton. Oh yeah, I know about the Burger Barn in Warrenton. Tommy the Tree. Tommy, good to see you. So Tommy the Tree, for you guys that don't know, the first race car I ever helped build was an electric race car when we were in community college together. And Tommy the Tree was one of the first guys. That was the first race team that I was actually a part of. We built an electric race car and we took it down to Indianapolis, and probably would have finished third if they hadn't jacked us around in the finishing order. But it is what it is. We finished 13th officially, but we would have finished third if they counted who came across the finish line win. But they froze the field at the moment the race was over. So like we were doing a timed race. As you can tell, I'm still bitter about that. Super competitive. Yeah, so we would have finished third if they counted it as you go across the finish line like they do in every other endurance sport. But they froze the field the moment that the clock expired, which is not real racing. So whatever, we finished third in real life. Anyways, let me move on. Joey became the villain because of how many people he used to ran over him when he first came. That's a fair point. Not a lot of people remember that. When Joey Logano first came in the Cup, people used him up because he was young, and so he started returning the favor. But if you watched him in late models, he had that in him all along from some of the people I speak to. So it was a matter of time, but he definitely got used up when he was young, when he first came into Cup. And it's hard to say he was rushed up because he was definitely good enough. He was winning everything in sight in Xfinity. But, he eventually had enough of it. And I think Chase Elliott was the same way. Chase Elliott got used up so many times that I don't think Chase Elliott even cares anymore that people talk about him. He's just like, I got used up so many times that it's just the way I got to race now. So that's just the way I see it. Since Penske is getting up in age, who is going to run his team? That is a really good question. Austin Cindric's dad would probably be the main guy. So I would say that's probably a safe bet. So yeah, I think you're safe saying that Austin Cindric's dad will probably run that. Because I don't see, unless he's got somebody that we just totally don't know about, I 100% see it being Austin Cindric. Offshoot that maybe he does a consortium with Rusty Wallace because he's still really tight with Rusty Wallace. He wanted Rusty Wallace to get a Cup title with him. But yeah, for sure, I could see it being some type of consortium. But I think Austin Cindric's dad will be the one that runs it for sure. Let's go, Brandon. Love your show. It's legit amazing. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Good job, brother. I've got Race Hub on pause on chat. So let me probably about 5 or 7 more minutes here, and I'm gonna wrap it up. I'll let you guys get back to doing what you're doing. I don't want to take you away from Race Hub or nothing like that. If we had only loosened up the motor, so we forgot it was 2 different races, and we forgot to break in the motor. So electric motor is really tight when you first get it, and you got to run it in a break-in mode. And we never did that. So the first race, we were terrible because our motor was not loose. But the second race, we had plenty of speed. So, yeah, for sure. Ty Gibbs replacing which one? Kyle Denny or Martin Truex? I think it's going to be either Martin Truex Jr. or Christopher Bell. And I think that they will slide one of those guys over to probably 2311. So here's the thing nobody's talking about. 2311 is eventually going to be a 4-car team. At least that's what they planned on. If you ever saw the original drawings of their shop or whatever. So I think somebody will get moved over there. I don't think they're going to give up on Christopher Bell. So I would say Christopher Bell might get moved over. If they push somebody out, they would probably push out Martin Truex because Martin Truex isn't really a Gibbs guy. They just sort of bought him in, so he would stop beating them at Furniture Row. They basically priced Furniture. It was, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, they priced Furniture Row out because they didn't want to compete with them because Furniture Row beat them one year and they didn't like that. So they brought Martin Truex in, and I don't think they really were dying to have Martin Truex drive for them so much as they were just trying to kill off another team. But that's just my opinion. I could be totally wrong. Like, that's just how I feel about it. So I feel like if they push somebody out, it would be Truex. But that's just my feeling. And if Truex got pushed out, I think a lot of things could unfold because I think that's a guy, if he wanted to keep racing, that's a guy that a lot of people would want to want to have drive their race car, and he's got sponsorship. So it could definitely happen. But if it happened, I think it would be Truex that got forced out, because I think they realize now that they have to have some young talent. They can't keep getting rid of all of it. But yeah, probably that's who I would think would happen there. Jared, thanks, man. Rest in peace, Speed Channel. Yeah, man, Speed Channel was the bomb. I wish they didn't drop it, but it is what it is. Mike Joy, crash. Kyle Busch, me. What, Kyle Busch isn't wrecked? A few minutes later, shows the crash. Yeah, that's pretty accurate of Fox's coverage. They turn away. Like, there was a really bad instance when they were coming off pit road, and Kyle Busch and somebody were about to make contact, and they just switched away from it right before they made contact. And literally, your job would have been to stay on it. So whoever is running it from the truck, they missed that one. They did Furniture Row dirty. Yeah, for sure. I think so too. Come back soon. This is fun. So I might incorporate these live chats in. This has been really cool. It's been fun. I grew up watching NASCAR on TNN. Eli Gold was the man. That's like super underrated. So if you guys, he does Alabama football now. So if you've ever heard the Alabama football guy, he used to do NASCAR, and he is absolutely amazing. He's from Canada. He started out doing hockey, and he calls a race like nobody I have heard before or since. He is one of the best live announcers I have ever heard in my entire life. So Eli Gold, if Google a race that Eli Gold announced, and you can almost like just close your eyes and listen to it. Is the way his delivery was, like, he just made it super entertaining. And he said it came from calling so many hockey games, because the action in hockey is so fast that you have to keep up with it. That he could get stuff in between racing. Like when a big moment happened, he could talk fast enough but still clearly enough. It's just really cool. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but he was one of the best I've ever seen do this. So I don't know. If you're looking to get into NASCAR racing, maybe call some hockey games first. Blake McCandless, friend of the show, he does some iRacing stuff and is the announcer for Ace Speedway. So check him out. He is really good too. He's an up and comer. And that Moonhead guy, apparently he's real big. He just got real big for calling that race. So those are some up and comers that could possibly, whenever Mike Joy wants to hang it up, those guys might be coming up soon. Why am I getting the feeling Denny Hamlin's going to retire? Denny Hamlin's not going to retire. He doesn't want to retire yet. I think he would go race for his own team before he retired. So that's also another option that a lot of people have brought up. Live is where it's all at, man. Do you have any way I can donate to your channel? I haven't done that yet. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know. Like, I feel weird about it. Just like I never. It's this. So this happened so quick. But yeah, I will have to look at how that donating to a channel thing works, because I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I need to give you guys some type of value if you give me money, and I don't know. It's I never expected any of this, so some of this stuff I still can't wrap my head around. But I will look into that in the future, and yes, I will do something. What is it called? Patreon subscribe star. I will look at one of those and see what value I can give in return for that. And we will make that happen at some point. I just need to sit down and look at it. Like, I finally sat down and looked at how to make t-shirts. So the best way to do it. So yeah, I've been watching NASCAR. Rich L said I've been watching NASCAR since the 60s. I started with Indy and got hooked on stock cars with the Pettys. Yeah, a lot of people forget that this sport would be nowhere without the Petty family. They really, really built it up, and that's what people don't realize when Petty said racing on dirt is going backwards, because that family worked really hard to make NASCAR a legitimate sport instead of just a bunch of basically outlaw moonshine runners, where you could get, at the racetrack if you said the wrong thing. They took it and from that and made it into a legitimate sport, and that's actually where the racing on dirt is taking the sport backwards came from, because they got them off of dirt and into legitimate racing. That's all he meant by that. He wasn't trying to take a stab at dirt by any stretch of the imagination. He was actually really good on dirt, by the way. So yeah, the Pettys, without Richard Petty and Lee Petty and the Petty family, NASCAR would never have been as big as it is because they took the platform here, and then Dale Earnhardt and his many nemesis, whether it be Bill Elliott or Jeff Gordon, elevated it to a whole nother level from there in the 80s and 90s. So it's been an evolution without Petty's and Earnhardt's, the sport, and Elliott's too. Well, I got to throw them in there. Petty's, Earnhardt's, and Elliott's, the sport would never be as big as it has gotten. I don't have to feel weird, man. You can put it toward some live coverage or something. All right. Well, yeah. That's I need to come up with a plan. Alan Unsealed next. Yeah. So funny thing about that, whenever I walk into a room now, my friends point their finger at me and scream next. So just so you know, I get ribbed for that pretty good. But I have fun doing it. So it is what it is. Next time you're in Sobo, hit me up. We'll get some bologna burgers. Well, I'll tell you what, Jared, I will be there probably on the backstretch. Look for the 58, and we're going to be the one car. Craig Moore is actually going to race this week because we're still putting Jason Barnes' car back to back. So look for the one car. It looks like the old Bass Pro number 3 that Dale Earnhardt ran, and the 58 of Daniel Moss. But we will probably be pitted on the backstretch, and that's where I will be at on the infield. So throw a hand up if you're on the backstretch. If not, I will. I don't know if they're doing a fan fest at this one or not. But I'll be up there with the cars at the fan fest. If not, how can NASCAR fix short track racing with a new car? They just need to fix the tire. The tire is not falling off enough for short tracks. They got Justin Sheeran. He's actually the spotter for Craig in late models. So what's up, Justin? They just need to make the tire fall off. I think the tire's too hard and it's not falling off. You got to have the tire fall off for short track racing, I feel like. I feel bad for Eric Jones this weekend, local kid here from Michigan. Eric Jones is another one that can work on his own car. That's the cool thing about Eric Jones. Other than he drives for Petty, I like him, but he works on his own cars. Him and his dad worked on his own cars and stuff. Suarez too. Follow Suarez. That dude's got a collection of vintage BMWs. Daniel Suarez is a wrench man. Also underrated. If you come out with a new shirt, I want one. So if you go to my last video, I have that, and I'm going to try to do a new design every month. That way it's not like the same t-shirt there forever and ever and all time. And if I don't come out with one every month, talk junk to me and tell me to stop being lazy and make another one. So we will come up with different designs. So if you don't like these designs, don't worry, there's another one coming. I do have plans on making one with the bologna burger wing. That's actually like on the channel, like the wing right there. So I'm going to do one of those. I just got to talk to my guy that designed that and get that going. And let's see. Yeah, the Jones work on their own stuff for sure. That's a fact. When or where will Chase Elliott win? He's got a good chance at Dover. So I don't know. If not Dover, definitely he's got a good chance at a road course, I feel like. I like Eric Jones, man. The first time I met him, I was in late model official at South Boston, and he brought some KBM stuff to run. Yeah. He ran supers and beat KBM at the Snowball, I think. And yeah, for sure. All right. A couple more minutes and I'm going to wrap it up here. So fire away, rapid, and we'll see what else. I do have stickers. So if you see me at the racetrack, I've got stickers. Yes, I will bring my stickers to the racetrack. And I will have them in the trailer. So I will walk around with a backpack like Casey Mears at Daytona and have stickers if you see me at South Boston. And if I don't, I will run to the trailer and get some if I forget to bring them. But I will definitely have them in the trailer. All right. Championship 4 contenders right now. Ross Chastain, William Byron, Chase Elliott. Joey Logano. That's probably a boring 4 too, by the way, but that's how I feel right now, because I feel like Logano and Chase Elliott have been super consistent and they will get their wins, and the other two have definitely well, they've just got the most wins right now, so for sure. Are you coming back to Martinsville this fall? I am hoping to come back to Martinsville. And I was shooting some video about Martinsville, and then I had a terrible situation with gravity. I'm not going to say I dropped my camera, but it didn't work as good after the situation with gravity. So I didn't get as much footage. I got a bunch of footage on my phone, but it didn't look as cool. And I was, so I just, I might make it still anyway, even though it'll be super late. But I do have some Martinsville stuff that I shot. But I'm planning on trying to do like a really cool vlog on one of these trips that I make. I want a shirt with an actual big bologna burger on it. Okay, all right. Well, that's a you know what? You talking about the logo or like an actual big bologna burger? T-Van. I can definitely make that happen. Like you want it like big on the chest or like big on the back. I don't know. Let me know. But if you've got suggestions, I will definitely do that. All-star race. Man, I can't make it to Texas, unfortunately. But your boy Eric Estep will definitely be at Texas because I think that's where he's from. So he will probably do a live vlog. I would like to go to Texas though. I actually think we have a race at South Boston on All-Star Week, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I don't know. Keep up the great work. I subscribed when you're at 1.5. Thank you, John Josie. I appreciate it. Thanks, Justin. I appreciate that. Both. Okay. So a big bologna burger with big bologna burger words on it. I got you for sure. Larson failed upwards bigly. That was Dennis Richards that said that. Roger Riggs, I'll be there. Maybe I can see you. Also, be back at Bristol too. Yeah, so I'm really hoping to make a Bristol night race. Texas is lame lately. I do wish actual big burger on the chest. You know what? That's a good idea. I will talk to my guy who does the design and stuff and see what's up with that. Texas has not put on the best races, although they had a really good finish last year. But yeah, that's where they're having the All-Star race. So I don't know. I thought the best All-Star race idea was when they had it at Bristol. I like that would be cool to me. Like you get because that would solve a lot of problems too, right? You get 2 Bristol races on concrete, and then you get one Bristol race on dirt, and the Bristol race on dirt could be the All-Star race. So it is what it is. And the other thing with the Bristol All-Star race being on dirt, they could use actual dirt late models, which is what a lot of people want to see. So that all kinds of options. Let's see. Ian Fisher, you're killing, man. Thank you guys. Like, your channel is good. Keep up the great. Thanks, Randall. When is the next South Boston event? Right down the road in Roanoke Rapids. They have one this weekend, and I don't know. I'd have to look at the schedule. They usually do every other weekend, I want to say. So probably this weekend, then there will be an off weekend, then another race. And also Peyton Sellers, who races there in the Orange 26, he's going to be your SRX driver for the SRX race. And I do plan on being there for the SRX race. Hope 50,000 is soon. Man, old home guy, like that would be crazy. I can't even wrap my head around what I got now. Yeah, I don't know. I hope so too, though. I love the Indy race under the lights. That would be cool. Yeah, for sure. Bristol All-Star race and throw out the rule book. I like it. Run what you brung. Bristol dirt as a gimmick on a track that never used to be a gimmick. Yeah, I agree. Like that's probably my issue with Bristol, right? It was good by itself. Like there are tracks that needed help that they could throw dirt on that a lot of people say Richmond. I'm not going to say Richmond myself, but a lot of people said if you want to throw dirt on a short track, throw it on Richmond. Is South Boston the track that the Burtons raced on? Yeah, for sure. Ward Burton and Jeff Burton raced for Allen and Earl Racing, called A&E Racing, and that is Alan Rice's dad. I mean, Alan Rice is the dad of Chris Rice, the guy at Colleague. So that is how all that is connected. So they used to build cars, and actually, I think the Rices built the first Busch Series cars for those guys, if I'm not mistaken, at least for one of them. I'll have to ask Alan next time I see him which one of them he built a car for. But yeah, so their first Busch Series cars, Xfinity now, was actually built by some late model guys, which was more common back then. That's another big gripe people have with the sport. Late model guys used to be able to build stuff and get into the sport. SRX is coming in June. Yeah, I'll be there. I will be there too. Yeah, Stevie Ray, thank you. If you don't like these T-shirts, by the way, Stevie Ray said he wants a T-shirt too. So if you don't like these T-shirts, I will have some next month that are a different design. So if you don't like what you see, don't worry. I will make another one. All right, starting to get loopy. All right, I think I am going to call it here. I appreciate all you guys for being on with me. A lot of positive feedback, so we will do another one of these in the future. We'll try to figure out how to do that going forward, whether it's like a Wednesday or a Tuesday thing. So we'll figure it out going forward. And man, I really, yeah, that is the king in the background. I really appreciate all you guys being here. So I guess we'll just do it like we always do it. Thanks for your time. Peace.